I appreciate your time. We appreciate your dedication to our college. Even when you're not on the payroll, I think that today's turnout is proof of our devotion to our profession and our devotion to our students, to our colleagues, and to our college and university. I'd like to begin by asking for some volunteers for an ad hoc committee to prepare a summative document of today's discussion. Obviously, it's not going to be a transcript, but simply a summative document highlighting the main ideas that have come up in today's discussion. There will be plenty of documentation to help in that task. Today's discussion is being taped. I also have some written comments submitted by people ahead of time, comments submitted by people who could not be here today, and we have also asked that people who are making comments today, we ask that they come with written statements. Some of them may have done that, others may not have. But I think there'll be plenty of documentation to help in that task. I can certainly be a part of that committee, but I would like to make sure that everybody gets a chance who is interested to help shape that document. Do I have any volunteers? Okay. Okay, Eric will help. Anyone else? Okay, and Michael? Anyone else? Can we have a third person? If not, I can be the third person. Okay, but I thought that would be useful to tell you ahead of time rather than at the end of the meeting. Today's agenda is devoted strictly to a discussion of the concept of restructuring for the university and our college, and more specifically to two proposals. One that was submitted by the Committee on Strategic Reorganization, and the second proposal that was submitted by the Chairs of Arts and Sciences Council, more specifically prepared by the following people: Reuben Patterson, Lawrence Anderson, Mike Dowd, Jim Benjamin, Holly Monsos, myself, Sarah Lundquist, and Paul Hewitt. I think that the report that you have on the table in front of you doesn't include the list of names, and we wanted to make sure that you knew who had participated in that particular discussion. If you should have two documents on the table. You have the draft form of the chair's proposal, and you have a comment from David Nemeth. We might perhaps move to David's comments first, since you took the trouble to prepare them and give us photocopies. And I'm afraid I don't, but we do have the documents to project. We have the Committee on Strategic Organization's proposal here. We have the chairs, and we also have a document that's called the appendix, which is an abbreviated summary, if that's not too redundant, of only a small portion of what represents interdisciplinarity among our colleagues now. We thought it was useful to at least have that kind of a document as well. So, to begin, I'm sorry?
Can we request, for those of us that are hearing impaired, that everyone speak up and use the microphone?
And we will make these available to people with comments. But let me just first start with a brief summary of some of the comments that were submitted to me from people who couldn't attend today's meeting. Anthony Quinn sent me a message saying that he was concerned about the proposal of such dramatic change without proof of a rational argument or justification of said change. He's concerned in particular about the lack of identification and a clear statement of the problem that is precipitating the call for restructuring. Charlie is here, so I will leave him to make his own comments. Bill Free wanted it to be recorded that he believes while we cannot accept the premise that the status quo must be rejected out of hand. I think that was part of the initial charge of the President to the Committee on Strategic Reorganization, that we make change only if the status quo is not ideal. He says that while we can't accept the premise that the status quo must be rejected out of hand, we're open to ways in which it can be improved. Joel Lippman made a very interesting suggestion about developing an experimental college where cross-disciplinary initiatives, highly individualized majors, suitably interdisciplinary professional standards, and so forth might be the standard. One needn't dismantle colleges to develop an experimental college. Someone else who sent me an attachment that I printed separately and doesn't have a name on it suggested that some of the unintended consequences of some of these restructuring plans are going to affect our delivery of liberal education. And he or she points out, for many years this university has sought a chapter of Phi Beta Kappa. We have been denied for one basic reason: lack of a clear university-wide commitment to liberal education. Dwight pointed out that in this era of predictions of serious budget problems, that the first plan appears to create a very expensive level of administration, and furthermore, another layer of bureaucracy means less transparency and responsiveness. Okay, and I think that oh, and one final one from Max Funk, who's not able to be here today. Max acknowledges that we can certainly be a little bit more integrative in our thinking and a little bit more interdisciplinary, but sees that this could take place at the level of an enlightened administrator, a school director, or an associate dean. So those are the comments that were submitted to me from people who couldn't be here. I'd like to give David a chance to start with his comments, since you have those in front of you. And then we can proceed to comments, questions, discussion from the floor. And if I could have a couple of volunteers to help with microphones to make sure that everybody is heard. And let's try and limit our comments briefly so that we get as many people to voice their concerns and their questions as possible. David?
Yeah, since I'm proposing no confidence vote here, I'd rather wait till the end and hear what my colleagues have to say. Thanks. Yeah. Hear what my colleagues have to say, and their arguments before making such a drastic proposal. So I'm going to wait. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you, David. Is there anyone else? John?
Oh, okay, it works. And looking this over, and I'm just a simple geophysicist, so I jump to conclusions without looking at a lot of information sometimes, but it's my feeling, my opinion, that it's not a structure that is a problem here. It's the failure to allocate authority and responsibility and resources. That there's many times that decisions don't seem to be made, although I do not doubt the sincerity of the people to make those decisions, simply because they have to ask someone up above, please sir, may I have some more? And just putting more bureaucrats in that line is not going to make any difference unless there's some fundamental changes above us on how decision making is permitted down here in the trenches.
Oh, Eric.
I was most impressed by what Professor Gray had to say